السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعزائي المشاهدين في كل مكان، أعزائي مشاهدي قناة حضرموت، أبناء الطلاب المستوى الثالث بقسمه العلمي والأدبي. هذا اليوم سنبدأ معكم دروس اللغة الإنجليزية. هذا خميس عبد الله بحشوان. Let's start with English language with the first lesson or the first language review number one. Language review number one, we are going to discuss just two topics: comparison and contrast. We are going to discuss comparison and the contrast. Let's start step by step. Comparison. That before starting the comparison, let us have a look about the adjective categories, because we need the adjective categories in comparison to compare things, to compare people, to compare, for example, anything is we have to know the adjective categories first. Let's start this. For example, what we can say about the first category? It is positive. Look at this box, it is big. Positive, the category used to describe something by its own. Then comparative. Comparative is used to express comparison between two things. The second box compared with the first box, it is bigger. So the second box is bigger than. This is called comparative. Comparative is used just to compare two things or two people. Then superlative. Look at this. Superlative, we use it to express or comparing something with a group of things or someone comparing with a group of people. This box is the biggest of the three, you see. Okay, so these are called adjective categories, درجات الصفات. Let's have general examples or a table that contains more examples for how to form comparative and superlative. Look at this table. You will see that the number of syllable of words, how many syllables? مقاطع الكلمة نفسها. If it is just one syllable, to form the comparative, we just add ER. For example, short, shorter, cheap, cheaper. To form the superlative, we add EST, cheapest, okay, and shortest, two syllables. If the word is two syllables, this depends on also hearing. For example, those words ends in Y usually takes ER for comparative and EST for superlative. And other words, some take ER and EST, but some take more and most. Look at, for example, happy ends in Y. It is happier comparative, happiest superlative. Look at funny, funnier comparative, funniest superlative. Look at serious, serious, two syllables. But it's difficult to say seriouser or serious, so you can here use more and most. More serious for comparative, most serious for superlative. Look at patient. It's difficult to say patienter, patientest. No, it's informal. You have to say more patient for comparative and the most patient for superlative. Simple. Simple can be used in both. Simpler, simplest, or more simple, the most simple. Okay? More than two syllables. Words that have more, or the adjectives that have more than two syllables, we usually add more at the beginning for comparative or most at the beginning for superlative. You can say, for example, here is important. You can say more important, most important for superlative. And there are irregular adjectives. Those adjectives don't follow the rule of the first, the previous ones. For example, as good. It is not, yes, it is one syllable. But you can't say, for example, gooder, goodest. No. It has its own comparative and it has own superlative. You say good, better for comparative, best for superlative. Then bad. No badder, baddest. It is worse, worst. then far. Farther, farthest, or further, you, and furthest. Okay, this is you have to keep in mind. You can see here also the word than and that. Than is followed the comparative adjectives, but it is not always. When the two nouns, the comparable two nouns are mentioned, you have to mention than. You have to say than. عندما يذكر المقارن والمقارن به، إذا ذكر الاسمين you can use than here. Okay? If not, you can't use than. The is normally preceded the superlative adjectives. The most, the best, the good, the cheapest, and so on. Let's give example for comparative adjectives. Hassan is older than me. Hassan is older than me. Here is older because one syllable, and there is than here mentioned because a comparative comparison between Hassan and me. Mukalla is bigger than Sayun. Mukalla and Sayun. Here is than mentioned, okay? And here is bigger because it's one syllable, okay? Then the Amazon is larger than the Nile. You see, the Amazon is larger than the Nile because there is a comparative between Amazon River and the Nile River. But the Nile is longer. Where is than here? No than because we mentioned just one noun. Okay. Have a rest. You will feel better. Better is the comparative of good as mentioned before, previously. Where is than here? No than because you feel now tired. Have a rest. Then you will feel better than now if you have a rest. This film is more horrible than the film of the last week. Why here is than mentioned? Because we mentioned the film of the last week and the film of today. Here is we compare between those two films. Okay? Why is more horrible? Because this horrible is more than two syllables adjective. Okay. I have to go now because my house is farther than yours. My house is farther than yours. So than here because we mentioned my house and your house. Here's examples of comparative. Now let's go for superlative. Superlative examples. Yusuf is the oldest in the class. Okay? For example, we have compared now, we compare Yusuf and the other students in the class. Yusuf is the oldest. Maybe the class students are between 17, 18, 20. Yusuf is 22. So Yusuf is the oldest of the all. Here is superlative. The Nile is the largest river in the world. The Nile is the longest river in the world. Here is we compared the river Nile, and this is also information, geographical information said the Nile is the longest river comparing with the all rivers of the world. So the Nile is the longest river in the world. You see, the longest. This class is the cleanest one in this school because the students of this class are always love to clean or have to clean their classes. So this class is always clean. So it is the cleanest one in this school. This is question. Which is the most beautiful city in Bحضرموت? If somebody asks and he wants to ask about the most beautiful city of Bحضرموت cities, okay, so it is superlative. Which is the most beautiful city in Bحضرموت? Shibam has the most amazing buildings, as you know. It's the first skyscrapers, or the Manhattan of the desert. It's called that. So Shibam has the most amazing buildings. Some hurricanes took place here, but Shabala was the worst. Comparing the hurricanes that took place here in Bحضرموت, okay, Shabala was the worst of the all. This is examples of superlative. Now, what about as in this language review 1? As is used when things or the two things or the two people or the two items are equal. So we use as here. Okay? وعندما يتساوى اثنان في الصفات ففي هذه الحالة فإننا نستخدم as. Okay. For example, as is used with the positive adjective that to say that things are equal. So you have the structure here is as, then positive adjective in the middle, then as. Okay. For example, we measured Ali. For example, is Ali is 20 or meter and 10 centimeters. Umar is meter and 10 centimeters. So they are the same. So Ali is as tall as Umar. Ali is as tall as Umar because they are both 1 meter and 10 centimeters. Don't forget the adjective here should be the positive. Positive. More examples? You can also, to form negative statement using as. If Ali or Umar, one of them is not the same as the other. Okay, so we can say here Ali is not as tall as Umar. One of them is taller than the other. Okay, the moon is not as big as the sun. Normally, when you look at the moon and you look at the sun, so the sun is bigger, okay, and the moon is smaller. Here you can say the moon is not as big as the sun. Question: is the gold as cheap as silver? أنت تسأل هنا عن المساواة، هل سعر الذهب بنفس سعر الفضة؟ الكل يعرف أن الذهب أغلى، وبهذه الطريقة ممكن تقول إذا سألت عن المساواة, if you ask about, for example, are they the same? Is the gold as cheap as silver? Sure, the gold is more expensive than the silver. The silver is cheaper. Now the same. The second is the same. Same works as, but with a little different. It's used to show that things are equal, the same as. It is followed by noun, not adjective. You have to take care about this. The same must be followed by a noun as a structure here. About the story of Ali and his brother Umar, they are the same, or his friend Umar here we can say, they are the same, okay, the same in height. We can say Ali is the same height as Umar because Ali is 1 meter and 10 centi and Umar is 1 meter and 10 centi. So we can using same here. Ali is the same height as Umar, and look carefully, the same height, not the same tall. You can also form the negative adjectives. You can form the negatives. Ali is not the same height as Umar. Maybe one of them is taller or shorter. Okay? The same with the story of the moon. The moon is not the same size here. The same size as the sun. Not the same big because there's an adjective, and here you have to use a noun because a noun must follow the same, or the same must be followed by a noun. Okay? And more examples for nouns here. Same color, same age, same beauty, same necessity, and so on. Let's go for the third topic, or the third step using for comparison also, like and unlike. These two words are not adjectives, but they can use it to make comparison. Okay? If things or these two things are the same, or there is similarity between those things in special item, we use here like. Okay? For example, I am interested in sports, and my father interested in sports too. So we can say here, like my father, I'm interested in sports. We both, me and my father, interested in sports. So we can say, like my father, I'm interested in sports. If not, my father interested in sports, but I'm not interested in sports. In this case, we can say, unlike my father, I'm not interested in sports. So with negative, unlike, we use also not. More examples here. Don't forget that the underlined words like my father and unlike my father must followed by comma, and these phrases also can be added to or written at the end of a sentence. In both cases, at the beginning of a sentence or at the end of a sentence, most we use comma to separate the phrase from the rest of the sentence. Look at this. I'm interested in sports, comma, like my father. I'm not interested in sports, then you see comma, unlike my father. Now let's go for the second topic of this language review 1, contrast, التناقض. Okay? Here we have conjunction words or linking words, although and however. Although and however to express contrast. التناقض غالبا يكون بين حدث ونتيجته. يكون هناك حدث وتتوقع هناك نتيجة معينة، فتأتي النتيجة على غير المتوقعة. هذا ما يسمى بالتناقض اللي هو contrast. These two words are used to express the contrast to give the same meaning of but. هذه ما درسناها زمان 7 8 9 استخدمنا but. Let's give more conjunction words, however and although. And we are going to study here, to discuss here, when we use although, when we use however, and where we can put although, where we can put however. Although can be used and can be written at the beginning. Although he worked hard, he didn't pass the exam. Contrast. Someone worked hard. What is expected? To pass the exam, but he didn't pass the exam. This is contrast. Although he worked hard, then comma, he didn't pass the exam. Or you can put although in the middle. You can say he didn't pass the exam although he worked hard. You can use however also with the same sentence, with the same statement. He worked hard, full stop, however, comma, he didn't pass his exam. He worked hard, full stop, he didn't pass his exam, then comma, however. Then however can be written at the beginning of the second sentence, at the beginning of the result, okay, or we can say in the middle. Also, however can be written at the end, after comma. Then we use whereas. Whereas also is a matter of contrast here, but it expresses opposites. It is not between an action and the result, it is between two subjects. Okay? Two subjects. لابد أن يكون هنا فاعلين اثنين مختلفين. Okay? Examples. Whereas Ahmed worked hard, his brother didn't. Here is a comparison between Ahmed and his brother. Not what Ahmed has done and what's the result. No, here is Ahmed and his brother. Here we can use whereas. Okay? Whereas Ahmed worked hard, his brother didn't. You can start with the whereas at the beginning. Okay, but don't forget to put comma at the first sentence. Whereas Ahmed worked hard, his brother didn't. Or you can put whereas at the middle here. Ahmed worked hard, comma, whereas his brother didn't. In summer, the weather in Mukalla is very hot, whereas in Sana'a it is pretty cold. Mukalla and Sana'a. Okay, so there is a comparison between two different subjects here. Whereas the weather in Mukalla in summer is very hot, in Sana'a is pretty cold. Or you can say in summer the weather in Mukalla is very hot, whereas in Sana'a it's pretty cold. Whereas the camel has a hump on its back here, Rama hasn't. This is quoted from the Unusual Animal, Bible's book, page 3. In your books you can find this example. Comparing the Rama, do you remember the Rama and the camel? The crisscross between the camel from Arab countries and the llama from the Western countries, and give us Rama. Now we compare this Rama, the baby of both, we compare them to its father and its mother. His father or its father has a hump, Rama hasn't. So we can say here, whereas the camel, the father, whereas the camel has a ham on its back, Rama hasn't. For more examples for this language review, you can look at Pupils Book page 4 and Workbook page number 5. Now, let's start with the exercises. We are going to give you an exercise that matches the workbook's exercise also and matches the final exams. Don't worry. Here, when you practice this exercise, you will find the final exam easy, inshallah. The first exercise, spot the mistakes and rewrite the sentences correctly. Number 1, Aiden is the same beautiful as Mukalla. Is it right? Aiden is the same beautiful as Mukalla. Spot the mistake. حدد الخطأ. Yes, there is a mistake. The same must be followed by a noun, not an adjective. So it should be correct. Aiden is the same beauty as Mukalla, or as beautiful as Mukalla. Then, Ta'iz is not as bigger as Eb. Is it right? As bigger as Eb? Sure not, because as, here is the adjective most in between, positive, the first category. What's the answer then? The correct answer must be, that's right. Ta'iz is not as big as Eb. More? Which city is old? Mukalla or Shuhair? Is it right to say which city is old? Mukalla or Shuhair? Two cities here. Okay? What's the correct answer? Let's see. Which city is older? Mukalla or Shuhair? Yes, correct. More exercises. Like its father, Rama has short ears. Where's the mistake? Look, like its father, Rama has short ears. Yes, here is the mistake, is a tiny, it's very small. You have to look to take care about it. Yes, the comma here. Like its father must be followed by comma. Then Rama has short ear. Yes, like his father, Rama has short ears. Okay. Although he came to school, he was ill. Is it okay? Meaningless. You can't understand this. Okay. Although must be followed by the result. Okay, or the action here. Then comes the result. Okay. It should be, let's see. Although he was ill, he came to school. Although he was ill, he came to school. على الرغم من أنه مريض إلا أنه جاء إلى المدرسة. More examples, more exercises. Choose the correct alternative. Choose the correct alternative. Here you have given 3 alternatives. Alternative, okay, you have to choose the best one or the correct answer. My shirt is the same space as yours. Red, color, or big? Which one is the correct? The same. Here is red, an adjective. Color, it's a noun. Big is an adjective. So which must follow the same here? Which must follow the same? So must be followed by a noun. So it will be the same color. Yes, my shirt is the same color as yours. And don't forget also to put the same. Okay, not just same, the same. More examples. My shirt is as, then space, as yours. Red, color, big. Yes, as, yes, the adjective. The answer will be My shirt is as red as yours. Okay, more exercises. Check the correct alternative. Okay, choose the correct alternative here. Again, Mukalla is too hot in summer. Space, it has beautiful beaches. Although, however, or whereas. Mukalla, then beaches of Mukalla. Let's check. Mukalla is too hot in summer. However, it has beautiful beaches. Okay. Yes, it is hot, but Mukalla beaches are extremely beautiful. Mukalla is too hot in summer. Space, Sana'a is pretty cold. Although, however, or whereas. Yes, here is Sana'a and Mukalla. Let's check. Mukalla is too hot in summer, whereas Sana'a is pretty cold. Here is because two different cities. We compare Mukalla and Sana'a. More exercises. Write the statements below in another way using the words given in the brackets. My house is about 1 kilometer far from here, and so is your house. That means my house is about 1 kilometer far from here, and your house is about 1 kilometer far from here. Okay, use as. Write this statement in another way using as. Let's check. My house is as far as your house. My house is as far from here as your house. That's good. The water well is not as deep as the oil well. What's well first? Well means a deep hole in the ground where we can find or where we can get water or where we can get oil. Yes, بئر. بئر النفط. بئر الماء. Here is this comparison between a water well and an oil well. The water well is not as deep as the oil well. This sentence is correct, but I want you to write it again using same. It should be, the water well is not the same depth. Here is depth is a noun from the adjective deep, and we have already known that the same must be followed by a noun. So the same depth. The water well is not the same depth as the oil well. Sure, the oil well is deeper. Okay. The Amazon is wider than the Nile. The Amazon River is wider than the Nile River. Sure. I want you to rewrite this sentence using unlike. Unlike the Nile, the Amazon is wider. Unlike the Nile, then comma, the Amazon is wider. Or you can say the Amazon is wider unlike the Nile. Okay? Here we have arrived to the end of this lesson. وصلنا إلى النهاية في هذا الدرس. حتى نلتقي بكم إن شاء الله في درس قادم. أبنائي الطلاب جميعا أترككم وكل المشاهدين أترككم في حفظ الله ورعايته، متمنيا لكم مزيدا من التوفيق والمثابرة والاجتهاد، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.